who does this right now, and what do we know about it? Well, the FDA CIRCs, although you've seen the tremendous benefits they're providing, we have $2 million, right, Carol? $2 million. That's the investment that FDA is able to put. We are not a funding agency, and we have not been seen to be one. NCATS has $600 million, as far as I know, but much of this is put into the prior academic model, and I just don't think that in the long term, the NCATS model and the NIH model is going to work for the kind of science that needs to be done here. Public-private partnership and consortia, they're industry and advocacy group funded, and FDA often puts a little bit into that, and it's what I call hand-to-mouth tin cup approach, right? Off with the tin cup. Can we get some money from these guys and put something together? This is not going to get us where we need to go very quickly. Now, in Europe, they have the Innovative Medicines Initiative. That is a public-private partnership between the government, the European Parliament, so to speak, by an edict, and industry and academia, where the government puts in money, and then industry and academia work together to make proposals. And those proposals might be funded. If they're funded, the industry must put matching in-kind investment into the project, not actual financial dollars. That, after, of course, a very slow start as the academic community had to get used to this idea, that, I think, is becoming very strong and popular. And they're doing many of the kinds of things for drug development science, I think, that I'm discussing here. But again, that's in Europe. It's a substantial amount of money, but there's a whole lot more that needs to be done. But that is one model. So to reiterate, drug development science, which is sort of a subset of regulatory science, needs a stable, reliable funding stream. To get there, I think we're going to need, first of all, we need agreement on what the problem is. Do people agree this is a problem or not? We need understanding that the pharmaceutical industry would not be the engine for this kind of innovation. The pharmaceutical industry is the engine for the molecules or the interventions. That type of innovation, not systems-level innovation, is what we need here, and scientific innovation in applied science. And then we need adoption of this point of view across a wide variety of stakeholders. And as I said, I'm trying this out on you because I think you're maybe halfway there. But a lot more parties, particularly those who hold the purse strings, would have to be convinced. So if people believe in this, a narrative needs to be developed that can be explained to many folk, because frankly, all the non-scientists in the world believe that you have it in the laboratory and then all of a sudden it's out there in the pharmacy. That's what they believe. And partly it's because that's what you have told them. And so it's going to be hard to explain to policymakers and others that there's a missing link here that really is going to have to be forged if we're going, and it's otherwise we're going to take a club to drug pricing. We're going to it's going to be simply, okay, we can't take any more. This is what we're going to do. And I think what the community and the ecosystem needs to do is offer up an alternative. Here's what we could do, and this would improve the value, and this also could improve competition and decrease the bar to getting on the market we're not talking about lowering the standards, we're talking about developing the actual tools we need. Otherwise, the science is not going to reach patients, and they're continuing not to get the best care that they could get if we actually were able to offer them the science we know now. Thanks very much, and I'll take questions.
We do have 3 to 4 minutes for questions, and thank you very much for that inspiring challenge. Dr. Giacomini?
Finally, I get up here to get a question. So, Janet, what a wonderful talk, and what you said is music to all of our ears. I mean, drug development sciences is, one part of regulatory sciences.
Right.
You're not speaking for the devices and all of that.
Right.
But you could have been. You could have been.
I could.
feel
It's
like
the same.
the same problem. So when you think about, where are you going to get sort of the money? Where are we going to think about getting that money to fund regulatory science? I know occasionally NIH has put out these RFAs. Oh, we have a big RFA, a roadmap for predictive ADME or something like that. They put it out. Many of us put in applications, but then they get a traditional NIH study section to review it, and so only these very far out and very innovative ideas are funded, and the ones that are directly
Impactful.
the roadmap don't. So that's one problem I see, is can we get it into NIH? Can they have RFAs? Can FDA serve as the reviewers, rather, because they know what they need, rather than the NIH folks? And also 2 other questions. PDUFA, can any of those funds be co-opted and used or required for regular, and are they already, or GDUFA funds that might help here?
Well, as I said, the generic drug user fee has $25 million over 5 years, I think, that is set aside for research, and it has proven to be a tremendous return on investment, in my opinion. PDUFA doesn't have specific, but sometimes they'll have little categories like complex innovative trial design or something like that. But usually we get people, a few people with that, not grant money, because we're not a granting institution generally. And we don't have the people to do grant review. For FDA to do this, it would require more staff, okay, because our staff is very pressed to do the work they're doing now. However, I agree with you. If you did something like this, you ought to have people who know what they're talking about, okay, review the proposals, people who work in the space in which which is drug development space, because the proposals would be around improving drug development or device development or medical product development generally and so forth. So, I have always thought that we need academic strength, that we need scholarly focus on all these different areas, and it's really been highly neglected. But I think we have to think and beware of what you ask for. I don't think it can be placed at NIH, because I think NIH has its remit. They do a wonderful job on basic science and innovation, and that's their mantra. And I think it's just too much of a cognitive dissonance to ask them to work on a lot of applied science.
Agree. Thank you.
I apologize to the other question askers, but because of the schedule, I want to thank Janet, and let's move to a lunch. There is food outside. You may bring it in here. It's a beautiful day outside where there are some tables, and there are some tables in the areas outside. So please enjoy lunch, and we'll see you at 12:40 for the next session.